Hey guys, I'm Anand. I work at 91 Springboard. I'm one of the co-founders and partners. So we're a co-working space and startup incubator that's here in Delhi. We've been up and running for about 2 months now. And I'll be talking mostly about like how we got started and some of the things we've learned along the way. So, okay, we're gonna wait for a bit. Yeah. Yeah. So the idea really started with Varun, who was the first partner. He had just sold his last company to make my trip. And when I joined him a couple of months in, the idea was to do something in the incubation, funding of early stage startup space. But we didn't want to just be signing checks. We wanted to do something more, to not just throw money at the problem. So we spend the next 6 months or so doing some market research. I personally have probably spoken to about 200 startups over the last 6 months, just trying to learn like what can we do to actually help. Yeah. So learned a lot, and in a nutshell, most of what we learned was like ultimately everything can be done in India. It just is harder than it should be. It just takes longer. If you think running a household is tough, like try running a company in Delhi. So some of the problems, the big ones, one, lack of information. You can find a lot of stuff on the internet. Most of it applies to America. Things like legal issues, local market data, accounting stuff, regulations. The information just isn't out there. It takes a long time to find it. Capital is another big one. So the big cliche about India is, the VCs act like PE guys and the angels act like VCs. There just isn't enough early stage risk capital in India. There's guys like T-Labs, Arpit's here, trying to fix it, but still, we're nowhere close to the levels where it should be. Other thing is, a lot of entrepreneurs end up working in isolation. There are small communities in Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, all over the place, but nothing comparable even to a place like Boulder, which is like one of the smallest cities in the US. So, and then there's this problem, which is families. A lot of startups who, they have ideas, they never get started, just because startups is just not a socially accepted thing. And even if you do get started, you need to hire people to come join you. How do you do that? So we kind of approached it by looking at it as if we were creating our first venture now. What kind of help would we expect from someone in addition to just capital? And through the course of that, we basically decided that there were enough people who were working at this level, which is the government and trade organizations, who had kind of like looked at the big picture and had identified what were the different areas that needed to be worked on and kind of were trying to build this ecosystem. But we clearly didn't have the knowledge or the expertise required to work at that level, so we decided to work at this one, which is these guys, none of them has like a blueprint of what needs to be done to like kind of solve all the problems. They're just kind of doing their own thing. So we wanted to focus at this level and provide some tools to help like the individual startups solve some of their problems. So these are basically ways to address some of those issues that I just talked about, which is lack of data, lack of information, lack of an ecosystem. So this is probably the hammer in our toolbox, which is a large co-working space we've created. It's about 10,000 square feet, seats about 150 people. And the idea is like we clearly don't have all the answers, but these startups will solve each other's problems. You get 30, 40 companies in there, and they'll figure it out among themselves. The other thing we wanted to do is just kind of create ways to collect knowledge. So a lot of the market data, reviews of service providers people have used, just collect that knowledge so new startups that come into our space can kind of plug in and get something meaningful out of the knowledge we've created just by being around. As far as capital goes, we've kind of put together a small pool of capital through which we're already making investments right now. As far as long-term viability goes, it's still a work in progress, so we'll continue raising, beg, borrow, steal. So we'll see how that goes. And then finally, this is our team. I guess there's 7 up there. All of us have had previous startups. Most of us have been in multiple ones with varying degrees of success. So the plan is for us to kind of work with the startups, never taking charge, but kind of being there as the sounding board or helping them work through some of their issues. So we've been up and running for about 2 months now. We've got about 50 people in the space. A lot of this, what we were hoping would happen has started happening. People are like kind of talking to each other, working together, doing a few events to share knowledge. And then, it's not all work. There is, we do stupid shit from time to time. And people are having fun, so that's what, it takes some of the load off kind of trying to go it alone and slog through it. And finally, it's, we're not making any claims about us, like kind of creating an ecosystem. We've had a lot of support from outside. Some of these people are here. So just wanted to say thanks to them. And if anyone else wants to get involved, we're open 24/7. You know where to find us. And I wanted to close with this slide. This is one problem we haven't solved. So if anyone has any ideas here, I'll be here. Come talk to me, I guess.